One. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, words are embodiments of ideologies which are carried and spread throughout society. That is to say, if a couple of hundred characters in a social media or blog post in and of itself can be a tipping point towards political action, we think that these words, which are backed up by ideologies which are often in many instances emotionally charged, need to be able to be held accountable in order to give the full picture of the context. Because since the dawn of human existence, emotion, biases, and political affiliation can never truly be taken away. There is no such thing as completely fair or balanced. But what we can do is be able to gravitate towards making those informed decisions to make the best possible action and exercise of our agency. This also comes at the proliferation of technology and artificial intelligence, especially in these online platforms like social media, blogs, and any corner on the web where you have interaction as being a crucial battleground for these discussions in exploration of these particular ideologies for people to be able to act and make decisions. The problem right now is that if you take a look at social media and a lot of these online spaces, whether it be from the left or the right, Democrats or Republicans, in majority of instances, those who have the means, motivation, capacity, and time to be able to fucking start commenting and sharing their opinion, even though no one asked, are oftentimes people from the far ends of the spectrum. This in and of itself can potentially radicalize and polarize the view of other people, absent a particular way to be able to fact check. I understand that side opposition might be like, yo, bro, there are other ways to be able to deal with this. But what we think these AI interjectors do is that it creates a more frictionless experience to be able to have a more seamless interjection of facts and information in order to verify your own stance and also give certain transparency and clarity to the other side to be able to prevent polarization. A couple of key points of framing. Number one, the sharper the stance, the more stringent needed the scrutiny in order to be able to prevent people from being overly radicalized and essentially making a poor decision. This is a value judgment debate about AI fact checkers intervening and being interjected in these particular social media and online platforms, and not necessarily just a debate about these things in and of itself being good or bad. We're talking about Reddit, etc., all of these other platforms and media. Number two, we think that the nature of these AI fact checkers and interveners aren't necessarily like stand alone in general. We're talking about the interjection of existing things like Grok, GPT, Gemini, and Bard, but we're very much willing to welcome like specific AI just for those purposes. And we think that they're primarily used for the scrutiny and valuation of these particular things in order to be able to help both sides, whether you're pro or against a certain issue, make a decision. The third is that what exactly is the rise and what are we talking about? What we're particularly talking about are welcoming the proliferation and access of all of these tools in whatever way, shape, and form. Number two, supporting the proliferation of these and the education of using these tools in school and people in society embracing it. And we're also inviting and welcoming meritocratic capitalism and competition to come in when we request and welcome funding from everyone to be able to come in a winner take all or in a complete competition to be able to make these things better. Because, and I think the first argument here is that these particular AI tools, their backers and founders, because they're motivated by profit, in and of itself want to be able to reach an audience, want to be able to get a return on an investment, which make it an incentive for them to be able to do these things well and be able to provide a good quality to the audience. Because in instances where they're shit, they're biased, or they fucking suck, that's exactly the point at which people will complain, cancel them, stop using them, and as a consequence, they get hit on their bottom line. Here's the kicker. even if these AI platforms can be biased, because I understand they may have some sort of leaning from the venture capitalists or the owners or the programmers or the people who are training these large swaths of data, the training data that we see with LLMs, because I understand input, process, output, we need to understand that the rise in and of itself allows us to be able to see over time who are going to be more legit, who are going to be particularly better. We think what this particular celebration of the rise does is that allows us to be able to categorize and understand the biases of these particular platforms. Because absent the rise, it becomes a pay to win. Whoever shouts the loudest or types the most or sounds the most persuasive EPL fancy stuff are the people who are likely to be able to have their voices heard. Here's my parallelism. My parallelism here is taking a look at how traditional news agencies proliferated and why, through the rise of that, we were categorically able to identify their particular leanings. That is to say, those particular ones in the left, like CNN, yeah, sure, before I go for it, yeah.
Yeah, so what exactly is the kind of involvement that is uniquely present within this rise?
These particular people are able to invest or not invest and make a decision to use these particular things, and over time the training data gets better and smarter. So going back to what I was mentioning, we can identify platforms on the left like CNN, MSNBC, and on the right we have things like Fox, but centrist news does exist, things like Al Jazeera, Reuters, or BBC, and we think that same kind of categorization can also happen amidst these particular platforms, meaning it's not monolithic where you have to choose just one. We think that they can all actually coexist and people can actually hop particularly to be able to verify these kinds of information. Because the goal really here is to be able to help people exercise their own agency, expand their Overton window, because this debate, like I mentioned in my pre-oration, applies to those who are moderate and centrists, meaning those people who have every capacity to change their decision. There's probably going to be no delta on the far left or far right, these people posting and trying to get people to sway their ideology. For all of these reasons, in order to have a better, safer, and more educated space, we need these tools. We celebrate the rise. We are very proud to stand on the side proposition.